Josh here, and we are 1 week post Gencon. So let's talk about where the markets have landed. As I hoped, things seem to be looking up. There are a lot of purchases happening on the various marketplaces, TCG Player, the Discord market, the Facebook market, lots of cards on the move. I've also talked to a couple of the individuals that sell a lot of Sorcery, and they say that everything is moving at an incredible pace. But there are some cards that are definitely moving more than others. So that's what we are going to talk about. Now, before I dive into this, I want everyone to be aware we are at peak FOMO at the moment because of the Dragon Lord situation. So, just remember, this is all just cardboard. It is not your life. Don't spend the mortgage or the rent. You can just get along perfectly well with a non-foil copy of that card that you desperately want. So, all that being said, let's dive into it, and let's start with the big issue. Dragon Lord. Right now on TCG Player, a single box of Dragon Lord is $450. Not in my wildest thoughts did I think that we would be approaching a $500 price for this box this quickly. The scarcity that we have, I thought, okay, 300. 300 is going to be the ceiling. And then, yeah, we might actually get to 500 before SCG Con, before hopefully we get another infusion of product into the market. And that is not what has happened. It looks like within the next few days, a $500 box set of Dragon Lord is what we are going to be looking at. And that is not where I wanted this product to be. I don't even think the folks who are collectors were like, yeah, we want it to be a $500 box set. That was not what they wanted. They want limited, they want collectability, but the idea that you take a product that was $59 and it's now $500, that's even more insane than the Final Fantasy situation in Magic for the collector boxes. I mean, this product is nearly 10x what it started out as. That is absolutely insane for a 13 card product with a single foil in each box. Out of control. And of course, the knock-on effect. If you're paying $500 for a single copy of a Dragon Lord box set, it's impacting the singles. Because what's in those boxes need to be worth, something like probably $350 to $400 for people to be willing to just throw out $500 on it. So looking at the singles, the foils, most of the foils, especially the dragons themselves, are in this $150 to $250 range. So the foil is making up most of the value of that Dragon Lord set. You do have some exceptions, and this is why people are making these big plays to spend $450 on this tiny set. $450 for the Dragon Lord Avatar foil, $475 for the Shrine foil. So big money. That one foil can make up the price of the box, although we're starting to get to the point where it's like, yeah, if you're spending $450 and you hit one of the $150 or $200 dragons, you're not going to be able to sell the rest of those singles because the non-foil singers are not anywhere near covering that additional cost. So if someone is opening this product to sell it and they're paying $450, they're going to run into some issues. Because the non-foils, looking at the non-foils, the Shrine itself in non-foil is 50 bucks. That's your high non-foil priced card. Most of the rest of the stuff is 10 to 20 bucks per card. Typically what we see for a lot of uniques, that $10 to $20 price range. Obviously, Auroran Legends has a lot of uniques at the $5 range, and Beta even has its fair share of $5 uniques. But since this product is so expensive, all the uniques in the box set are essentially running $10 to $20, other than the Shrine at $50. Now, there is one card that's non-foil that I do want to talk about a little bit, and that card is the Cradle. Of all the cards in the set, the Cradle seems to be the foil I'm seeing the most, and it had the lowest price out the gate. But at least for the non-foil, that situation is changing. A large number of those have been purchased, and now that card is at $20. So it's at the top end of what most of the non-foils are at. I think someone thinks that this card, they're speccing on it. They think that it's going to be worth a whole bunch. And so they're buying up as many as they can. It could be, and I hate to say this because I don't want to think this of the people that are playtesting, but Galahad went up in price a whole bunch. And then we got the rules announcement that changed how damage can be dealt to sights and striking and all that. So Galahad is now a much better card. Not as good as Vampire, but a much better card. And so my big worry about what's happening with Cradle is that its ability to let you see the top card of your deck is going to play into Gothic somehow. And for me, if that plays out, if you're actually, look, I'm not associated with Eric's Curiosa. we don't have a business relationship. I make this stuff. Yeah, I talk to the staff from time to time, but they know I'm me and I do my thing and they're doing the thing and making the game for us all. And that's just how it is. But if there are playtesters who are out there who are like, using their knowledge of future playtesting and all that to buy into cards and spec on cards, that's pretty upsetting to me. It's basically insider trading. That's what you're doing. You're doing insider trading, an American pastime. I won't go there. But, I hope that's not what's happening. I hope that maybe someone's just like, I think this card's going to be really good. And they're buying it up for that reason. $20 is not terrible. But, the more of these non-foils that end up at $20 or $30, then the more it's going to push the Dragon Lord set price up. And we're already at $450. So that is absolutely insane. One other non-foil I want to mention, one that started out kind of low, Draco Corvus. Again, another card that I think someone is thinking is going to be something. It started out at $10, and all of a sudden a whole bunch got bought, and it's up to 17. So it's not a huge move, but a lot of them got bought. So, someone thinks that it's going to be something. The real question is this going to happen with any of the other dragons? There's one of them, and I'm not going to say its name, that I think may actually see some play, but we'll see. And it's not Draco Corvus. I'll give you that much. But one of the cards that I'm really looking at, I'm thinking about making a deck around. So we'll see where that goes. But right now, Dragon Lord, $450 a box set. I am really hoping that those Star City game cons have a pretty sizable quantity of Dragon Lord available at that Crossroads event there so that we can get some more supply into the market. Now, if you're outside of the US, I'm sorry. As far as I can tell, you're absolutely hosed. You're going to pay, import fees and taxes, all that garbage, because there just doesn't seem to be any of this product outside of the US, and what's in the US, it's insane to even get your hands on one. So, if you're outside of the US, I'm sorry. I wish there was something I could do. I really do. But I can't. it is what it is. One last little thing I want to mention and throw this in at the end of the Dragon Lord discussion. There was an article posted by Curiosa, the Gencon recap. And in that, they made the statement that they were humbled by the request for a reprint of Dragon Lord. Does that mean they're going to reprint Dragon Lord? I don't think so. I think they were just making a statement. They were humbled by it, that this product was so well received, because I kind of feel like even Eric Curiosa was maybe like, is this going to go okay? This is kind of a different, it's a totally different product. It's something we've never done. It does kind of look like Secret Layers. Are we really going to be Hasbro? Is that what we're doing? So I imagine there may have been some hesitancy at Eric Curiosa. And so I think that statement that they are humbled by the request for a reprint of this product is, wow, this is wildly successful. We're really happy. So I wouldn't take that reprint statement one way or the other, because again, I don't think a reprint's happening. And if it does, it's not going to happen in the near future. Gothic has to come. Gothic is on the way. Eric Curiosa has to pivot to Gothic and get that product going. The launch of Dragon Lord was amazing. The product was released. Clearly, it's been very well received. I'm sure Ed is thrilled. I'm pretty sure he said several times that he's thrilled with how things have gone. So, maybe I'm sure he's probably a little hesitant over the price at this point too. $450 for a box is kind of like, oh, whoa, that's quite a bit. But, everyone involved on the business side, I'm sure, is thrilled with where it's at, because I think there may have been some, not from Ed. Ed knew this was his thing, so he knew. But I got to think that Eric Curiosa was like, just from the perspective of this product is so different from anything we've done and has those similarities to other products for companies that are, getting hit over the head over continuing to do those types of products. So, I just think that statement was, yes, we're so happy that you actually want us to reprint this product that we may have had a little bit of hesitancy over. So that closes out the Dragon Lord. That's it. So what else do we need to look at? Well, obviously, we got to look at the top 8 decks at Gencon. Now, I am not going to cover those because Golden Eagle Cards, I will put the link to his video in the description of this video. Go check it out. Bruce goes over the top 8 yet again, just like he does at the end of every competitive event. Go over there, take a look at his video. He's going to run through and talk about everything. Don't know if he's going to, he did this very quick right after Gen Con. I don't know if he's going to expound upon it, but this is the video that we've got right now. So go check it out. Go see Bruce's video, because he does a phenomenal job with that stuff. But talking about some of the cards in terms of the market, the cards that were in those 8 decks and what has happened, that's what I want to discuss. So the big one, the one that kind of after the rules change in the codex, everyone was like, oh no, the Grim Gisarm. So the Grim Gisarm in foil is up to $50. This was a card that was $5 less than a month ago, and it is now a $50 card. There were not very many available on the TCG, on TCG Player. I'm sure availability outside of the US is even worse. So now we have this $50 card all of a sudden in Auroran Legends, another one. And that's just the way it is because of that change, because a lot of people are going to be running Grims. They were in a lot of the top 8 decks. The burst damage it provides has changed the game fundamentally in how we play it. So not surprised to see that card at $50. Because there are so few available, it might climb. This is an elite. And there is a lot of Auroran Legends still out there. In terms of prices of Auroran Legends boxes, I think I saw there were cases for like, I think it was $460 on TCG Player. $460 for a whole case of Auroran Legends. But here's the thing. You're probably not going to see a foil Grim. it's so hard to pull particular cards in the Auroran Legends, especially once you get to that foil elite and foil unique slot. And even just the regular uniques. I mean, you guys saw my struggle with the ring. 20 boxes to get a single non-foil copy of the ring. So getting particular cards is very difficult. Now, the good news is the price of the non-foil Grim is still like a quarter. So you can get Grims still very cheap if you just need them for play. But that foil is going to cost you, and it's at $50 now. But there are other cards beyond Grim that were affected. So other cards in Auroran Legends, one that just makes me chuckle. Boudica. Boudica is up to 30 bucks in non-foil. And why that makes me laugh is because there was a time when Boudica foils were $30. That was probably, that may have been 6 months back. It's been a while, but still very funny that a card that in foil that was so hard to get was $30, and now that same card is $30 in non-foil. The foil is up to 80 bucks. So you're paying $80 for a foil Boudica. You're paying $30 for a non-foil Boudica. Obviously fire, even though air was the most played, all the most played cards, most of them were air if they were not artifacts. So, but there's still a lot of fire, and Boudica just does some amazing things in terms of, you know, if you've got some strategy where you've got a lot of stuff, she's going to add on to that damage. So Boudica, $30 now. I feel like she was at $25 prior to Gencon, I think. That move may have happened earlier, but she's a $30 card now. So another big player or another big card that you can kind of hit in a Auroran Legends box to cover a pretty significant chunk of the cost of that box. There's a couple other cards in Auroran Legends. Valley of Delight. Valley of Delight has consistently been a card that people want in foil, that people want in non-foil. There is one foil Valley of Delight on TCG Player at $60. And then after that's gone, it jumps up to like 80 bucks. So it looks like foil Valley of Delight is on the move. Obviously the non-foil, the sales are just rolling in for the non-foil. It's still holding at $5 though. So if you need that non-foil copy of Valley of Delight, need to get a pair, $10. You're still good. But if you're looking for that foil, I really think a $100 price point for Valley of Delight is something that could be achieved, especially post Gothic, right? We know there's going to be a lot more players coming in with Gothic. They're going to want staples, and some of them are going to want to foil out a deck. So that Valley of Delight, I think, is still going to see a lot of play. Even in a post-Gothic world, it just provides a lot of flexibility for your deck in terms of the element, making sure you hit those thresholds. So I think that card could definitely see a $100 price point in the future. A couple other cards that are moving, their prices haven't moved, but they've either had a lot of cards bought all of a sudden, or they've just had a lot of consistent sales. Feast for Crows in non-foil, still holding at $10. So you can still get your Feast for Crows for $10. But man, the sales that were shown on TCG Player, just very consistent sales throughout every single day. Just moving, the card's moving. So that's one of those things when you see that type of consistent trend, and when you have a product like Auroran Legends that not a lot of folks are opening and supplying the market with, it can be very hard to continue to support the needs of the player base. So that $10 price point may not hold for much longer. In addition to that, another card. Oh, where was it? What was the other card? Foil Wizard's Den. Now, again, Foil Wizard's Den, very cheap. It's like $1.50, non-foil. But in foil, a whole bunch got bought out. Still at the $10 price point. But there weren't very many at that $10 price point left. And then there was a big jump to $20. So that Foil Wizard's Den may be on the move as well. It did feature in some of those top 8 decks. There weren't, not every one of them, but several of them did have that Wizard's Den. And I will say, and I'm just going to grab this real fast, I actually saw a foil Wizard's Den for the first time about a month back. And I was like, this is amazing. This card just looks incredible. And, I am not a foil person. I don't typically buy a lot of foils. I don't foil out decks. It's not what I do. I just want cards to play with. That's what I care about. And then if I'm going to buy something kind of high end, I'm looking at paintings, I'm looking at sketches, I'm looking at APs. That's where I'm putting my big money. But that foil Wizard's Den, I just could not resist. So I did go ahead and I bought a pair of these. Obviously, I don't know how well this is going to show up on the camera, but the foiling on this bad boy is just astounding. So I really think Gothic, the foiling, it seems like they've been working to really improve the foiling. Like even the foiling in Wave 3 beta, you can tell it's different. You can tell it's better. So I think the Gothic product, the foiling, is going to be amazing. And I think Wizard's Den was kind of a, ooh, look at what we can do. Look at how cool we can make this. It just feels like that to me. So, but that's another card. A whole bunch got bought. I could see that card moving up in the future if people, want to continue to use that. I would be a little bit more shaky on Wizard's Den staying in decks post-Gothic. We're going to have a whole lot of sites added to the game. So Wizard's Den, which is a card that isn't in every deck, like Valley of Delight. Valley of Delight is typically in every, I think the top 8 literally had Valley of Delight in every one of their decks. I could be wrong about that. Go see Bruce's video. You can see it. But it was in a lot of them. Wizard's Den was not. So I think that one will be a bit more of a toss-up. Is it going to be a thing where like, yeah, I need that extra card draw, so it's going to stick around post-Gothic? That's it for Arthurian Legends. I've kind of hit all the cards in Arthurian Legends that have been impacted post-Gencon. But there are a couple of cards in beta as well that I want to talk about. The first was already kind of hit post-Codex, the Daparil Vampire foil. It completely got bought out in beta. And now there are finally some back up, but they're $40. So you want a foil copy of Daparil Vampire, you're looking at $40. I'm not surprised at all. I honestly think it could hold 50 if it wanted to. The card is just, it was already good. It was already one of the best minions in the entire game. And with the change in the codex, now it's just absolutely ridiculous. So if you're wanting to foil out a deck and you're in air and you're playing those vampires, you're going to be paying for that foil card. The other card, and this one it's not a surprise. It's a surprise that it took this long. Tor's Hammer Trinket and foil. Tor's Hammer has been being used consistently by many players for a very long time. But it just never really got the traction where someone was like, I'm going to buy all of those. Or people were like, I need it, a lot of people wanted to get the foil set of those. And I don't know why that was, but it just wasn't with the Tor's Hammer. But Tor's Hammer has spiked. I'm pretty sure I actually bought a set of Tor's Hammers. I think it was about 6 weeks ago. And I think I paid $7 a card or $8 a card. Again, I'm old. My memory is a little faulty. I think it was $7, $8 a card for a foil beta set of Tor's Hammers. And now it's $40. So, if you want foil Tor's Hammers, you're looking at $40 a card. What's kind of funny is that the alpha version is still selling at $42 on TCG Player. There aren't very many copies left, but hey, if you're going to pay $40 for foil beta Tor's Hammers, you may as well buy the alphas for $2 more. I don't see any reason not to. There's a lot less of those in circulation than there are all the betas. So I think you should, just get those if you, spend the extra few dollars. That's it though. So those are the cards. Some of these, I really expect, look, I knew Grim was going to be way higher post Gencon because that card was going to be in so many decks, and it was. That one I felt very confident about. Tor's Hammer, I'm not surprised by. It was in a lot of the top, I think it was in all the top 8 decks, I think. So, the Vampire, same thing. We saw the buyout of Vampire even before Gen Con, so that was going to happen. But Dragon Lord, boy, that's the big unexpected thing. $450 for a single box set here in the US? I mean, if that was happening outside of the US just because of, VAT and all that stuff and shipping costs, I would be like, well, that I can understand that because of those additional costs, which means here in the US it would be, I don't know, $300, $350, which is still extremely high. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the idea that we are approaching a $500 box set for Dragon Lord with, I want to be very clear, no relief in sight. There is no relief coming for Dragon Lord until at least mid-October. That is a long way away. So I don't know where this is going to go. And of course, you've got all the people who are afraid they're going to miss out, and they're just jacking the price up through the ceiling. I would be very careful right now with Dragon Lord. I don't think there's going to be a reprint, but you can get a lot of cards for $500. A lot. And the thing about Dragon Lord is, cool as the set is, there's not a Ring of Morrigan in Dragon Lord. There's not. So, at least right now. Now, something in Gothic could turn one of those cards into that. It's entirely possible. But right now, there isn't a card on that level in Dragon Lord. So, if you are a player, I'm telling you, pick up the non-foils you want to play with. That is your best bet. I don't know if this is still going to hold. There were still a few people that were offering the set minus the foil for like $80. I think that price isn't going to hold now that we've moved to $450 a set. But hopefully we're still in a place where maybe it's $100 or $125. But so, if you want to just get them all, that's probably your best route so that you're not paying the price of a foil ring for a box set. I suppose you could take the gamble and hope you open one of the higher cost foils, but then you got to move it, all those things. And if you don't have a strong background in terms of, trading on the marketplaces or have a TCG player account or an eBay account or however you're going to move it, it's more effort. So I just would be very cautious spending that kind of money when there's so many other things you could get for that price. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Be cautious. Supply of Dragon Lord is going to get worse. I just don't see any way around it. I don't think Eric's Curiosa has 5,000 copies sitting in a warehouse that they can send to LGSs. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's happening. If we get a reprint, I'm still saying the earliest we get it would maybe be in the summer. So the supply is going to be very tight. But be very cautious with what you're spending on these pieces of cardboard. And make sure you're not buying something that you don't need, especially the foils. You don't need them. So just be very cautious. And hopefully, once these Star City Games events kick off, hopefully that results in more Dragon Lord coming into the market, and maybe we can get some relief on this price. And the people who already have the stuff, they're going to be like, well, I don't need another set. I've got what I need. And they move on. And so hopefully that brings the price back down. But in this near term, yeah, I don't see it going down for a while. So just be cautious, be careful, and as always, keep on contesting the realm!